Ukraine's military has recently launched a series of significant strikes on Russian logistical and military infrastructure, marking a new phase in the conflict. These attacks, executed with remarkable precision, are primarily aimed at crippling Russia's supply lines, storage depots, and crucial military resources. Ukrainian officials have highlighted their focus on neutralizing strategic targets such as missile storage facilities and transportation hubs, including those housing Iskander ballistic missiles, which are a cornerstone of Russia's offensive capabilities. One of the most critical recent strikes took place in the Krasnodar region, where Ukrainian forces hit a vast ammunition depot near the town of Oktyabrski. This depot is among the largest in Russia, serving as a key logistical node that supports Russian forces operating in Ukraine, particularly in the southern and eastern theaters of war. Ukrainian drones, which have become increasingly effective, carried out the strike, managing to inflict considerable damage on the facility. According to reports, the depot stored large quantities of artillery shells, missiles, and ammunition, some of which were reportedly supplied by North Korea. The strike at Krasnodar underscores the broader Ukrainian strategy to degrade Russian military capabilities by hitting its rear areas, which have historically been considered safe from Ukrainian attacks. This attack, like several others, is part of a larger effort to disrupt Russia's logistics and slow down its offensive operations. Ukrainian officials revealed that the destruction of the depot resulted in the loss of thousands of tons of munitions, causing a ripple effect on Russian military operations. The importance of the Krasnodar depot, which acts as a transit hub for Russian military supplies, cannot be overstated. Its destruction complicates Russia's ability to resupply its troops on the front lines, especially those in need of critical weapon systems like the Iskander missiles. In addition to targeting the Krasnodar depot, Ukrainian forces also successfully attacked several other depots and transport systems deep inside Russian territory. One of these attacks struck a military train carrying over 2,000 tons of ammunition, leading to massive explosions and fires. This train was reportedly transporting munitions from North Korea, further underscoring the evolving nature of Russia's international military partnerships. North Korea's involvement in supplying arms to Russia is a significant development in the conflict, drawing international attention and concern. Ukrainian military officials stated that the destruction of this train was a critical blow to Russian logistics, particularly in the southern and eastern regions. The increase in Ukrainian drone strikes has been a notable feature of this phase of the war. Ukraine has expanded its drone production capacity significantly, with Defense Minister Rustem Umerov stating that the country now has the ability to manufacture millions of drones annually. This surge in production has been enabled by a combination of domestic efforts and international financial support from Western allies, particularly the United States and European countries. These drones have proven to be highly effective in targeting Russian military infrastructure, both on the front lines and in rear areas far from the immediate conflict zone. President Volodymyr Zelensky has made it clear that these attacks are part of a broader strategy designed to weaken Russia's military and logistical capabilities. As part of this effort, Zelensky has been pressing Western allies, particularly the United States, for more advanced weaponry, including long-range strike systems. During his upcoming visit to the White House, Zelensky plans to present a detailed military strategy to President Joe Biden, which he hopes will secure additional military aid and support for Ukraine's war efforts. Zelensky's plan reportedly includes the acquisition of long-range missile systems, advanced drones, and other critical military technologies that Ukraine believes are essential for achieving a decisive victory. According to military analysts, Ukraine's strategy is not only about immediate tactical gains, but also about long-term impact. By targeting Russian logistics and transportation hubs, Ukraine aims to force Russia into redeploying its forces to protect its rear areas. This could reduce the pressure on Ukrainian forces at the front, giving them the opportunity to regroup and launch counteroffensives. Additionally, the strikes on fuel depots, energy infrastructure, and transportation routes could disrupt Russia's ability to maintain a steady flow of supplies to its troops, especially as winter approaches. The cold weather will increase the demand for fuel and energy supplies, making these strikes even more impactful. These strikes also have broader implications for the Russian population, particularly in areas that have been largely untouched by the conflict so far. The strikes on Russian territory have led to the evacuation of several villages and towns near the targeted sites. Russian civilians, who had previously felt insulated from the war, are now facing the direct consequences of the conflict as Ukrainian drones reach deeper into Russian territory. This shift in the nature of the conflict has caused concern among Russian officials and citizens alike, as it challenges the perception that the war is confined to Ukraine and its border regions. The impact of these drone strikes on Russian infrastructure cannot be underestimated. Satellite images have revealed extensive damage to multiple depots and military installations, some of which are crucial to Russia's ability to sustain its military campaign in Ukraine. In the Krasnodar region alone, satellite imagery shows large sections of the ammunition depot engulfed in flames, with smoke billowing into the sky. The destruction of such key assets not only weakens Russia's military, but also sends a powerful message about Ukraine's growing capabilities and resolve. Ukraine's ability to strike deep into Russian territory has been facilitated by its rapidly expanding drone program. In addition to domestically produced drones, Ukraine has received significant support from international partners, including advanced technologies that have enhanced the effectiveness of its drone operations. This growing capability has enabled Ukraine to carry out more frequent and larger-scale attacks on Russian targets, with devastating effects. Military experts suggest that these attacks could become even more frequent in the coming months, especially as Ukraine continues to scale up its production of drones and other military technologies. The strikes on Russian logistical and military targets are part of a broader shift in Ukraine's war strategy, which emphasizes disrupting Russia's ability to sustain its war effort over the long term. By targeting critical infrastructure such as fuel depots, transportation hubs, and ammunition depots, Ukraine is seeking to weaken Russia's operational capabilities and force it to divert resources away from the front lines. This strategy has already begun to yield results, with Russian forces reportedly struggling to maintain supply lines and resupply their troops in key areas. Despite Russia's efforts to defend its territory, Ukraine's drone strikes have exposed vulnerabilities in Russia's air defense systems, particularly in regions far from the front lines. While Russian air defenses have successfully intercepted some drones, many others have slipped through, inflicting significant damage on Russian infrastructure. The growing frequency and effectiveness of these strikes suggests that Ukraine is increasingly able to challenge Russia's ability to defend its own territory. In conclusion, Ukraine's drone strikes on Russian military and logistical infrastructure represent a significant escalation in the conflict, with far-reaching implications for both sides. These strikes are part of a calculated strategy designed to weaken Russia's war effort by targeting critical infrastructure, forcing Russia to redeploy its forces, and exposing vulnerabilities in its defenses. At the same time, Ukraine is ramping up its production of drones and other military technologies, positioning itself for more frequent and large-scale attacks. As the conflict continues to evolve, the success of Ukraine's drone campaign could prove to be a decisive factor in shaping the outcome of the war.